Kia ora, welcome to the Open Lab podcast.
Open Lab, the podcast.
Where we will be opening up conversations about the transition between university life and the design industry.
We give emergent design thinkers experience on all things design and arm them with the tools to hit the ground running.
You're with Connah,
And Michael.
and we're here to help you through this transition. Welcome back to the first episode.
2019, yeah.
Ooh, how exciting. We're spreading our wings.
Yeah, spreading our wings. We are starting a...
Podcast, clearly, because you're listening to it. So why don't we get into it?
Yeah, let's
What
do
is
this.
Open Lab? Who
Open
are
Lab.
we?
Who are we? What do we do? How do you get to be employed by us?
You know, you might be an international, you might be on the other side of the world. So we'll start with, we are in New Zealand.
Aotearoa.
Beautiful, beautiful place. I'm sure you've heard lots about it.
And we're also located in Wellington.
The capital of New Zealand?
Yeah, it's got a beehive.
Not a real one.
No.
It's a building.
It's
That
a
looks
building.
like one. Anyway, Open Lab itself is a design studio based within Massey University.
Yeah.
And I guess what's our core?
We bridge the gap between university design world and industry. So we're there to help students push out their expertise that they've learnt through their 4-year degree and give them the tools to hit the ground running when they go into industry, which is pretty cool.
And I think a lot of designers have the same issue where you get out of university and people want experience. So we have solved that issue by giving students design experience within the industry without having to actually be in the industry.
We are in the industry. So we are a proper design studio, and you get paid by the work that you do with us.
What we wanted to do in this podcast was just open up everything, open up what it's like, the transition between leaving university or college or your polytechnic and then going into the design industry and how different that is and how scary it can be, and all those weird things that happen in between.
What we want to bring to it as well is have other people come onto this podcast and talk about their experience of when they left university and how they got their first job, what they went through, the stresses, and really just opening up to give you guys a little bit more knowledge and know-how how to tackle that big kind of scary world once you leave university.
We want to be... That wasn't me. That wasn't.
Concon's got a text.
We want to be... I guess support, something that you can plug into your ears while you're at uni or while you're looking for a job or while you're writing your CV.
Or cleaning your house.
Or cleaning your house.
You know,
Or
your rental.
Or just doing
place.
any adulting design tween thing.
Design tween. What's that? Explain it.
I guess what I would coin it as a design tween is exactly what we're talking about, which is that transition from university, you're studying design, and then going into real world industry. Yeah, design tween, kind of those weird years, just like normal tweens. Everyone needs help getting through those years, so that's exactly what we're here for. Open Lab's not your usual design studio. We are based within the university because that's our focus, that's what our passion is. We want to help the students, but we are a commercial studio, so we run just like any other studio in the industry, but we do hire mostly students.
So the cool thing about Open Lab is that we can employ any undergraduate student from across the disciplines within the college. So that could be a fashion student, that could be an industrial designer, that could be a spatial designer or VCD students. Anything that the colleges teach, we can create a project, or hopefully we can get a project into the studio that allows us to connect with all these cross-discipline design things, designers. Yeah, there we go.
And not only the students, but we can tap into all our academics and research as well. Your lecturers are such a diverse bunch that have, exhibited all over the world, or they do their own work on the side, so it's awesome to get them in on projects as well.
Each project could have a guidance, often academic staff member, some undergraduate students, and mentoring from Connah and myself. And also there's a studio manager. Bloody emails.
Fucking emails. They ruin everything. But what I was also going to touch on is that we've got access to all these awesome cross-discipline students and academics and researchers, but also facilities. So right now we are recording in our VRIR. Oh my God, we're so dyslexic. I'm just going to say VR mixing suite. So,
AR and VR,
okay,
by the way.
You've got it.
Yeah.
We've got we've got lighting studios, we've got, access to the music schools, CMP, creative media production, photography, you name it. So every time we get to do a project and we're like, yeah, we want to 3D print something. Like usually you can't really do that in a studio out in industry. There's expenses and budget, but we are super lucky to have all these different facilities for us.
So, a little bit of background information about your host. I'm Michael. I have 13 years experience in industry. I graduated from Massey University myself back in 2006. Since then, I've worked in 4 design agencies, both medium or small agencies within Wellington. I also had a year gap where I was kind of doing a little bit of freelancing, so I worked for another 3 companies within that period of my time. I have grown up in the industry from junior designer right through to my last role, which was a art director role, but have recently come back to Massey University to work in Open Lab and have been here for the last 4 years now, going on 4 years, which is pretty huge feat, if that's the proper word for what I'm trying to say.
Just a disclaimer, we'll never have the proper word.
I think I was actually thinking about this yesterday. Basically, I have been here for 4 years, which is almost a degree in itself. So, when I first started here, some of you would have been first years back then, are now coming up to their 4th year, which is quite special because that means when I first started, you guys were year 1, and now you're year 4 doing your major project, and we hopefully can get you all into the studio, which will be awesome.
Yeah, you're all grown up. Like we said at the start, I'm Connah. I am a designer at Open Lab, and my story is very different. I've actually been in Open Lab since I left university, so that's coming up 3 years of experience in industry. But like I said, I did 4 years degree at Massey University, which was a Bachelor of Visual Communication Design, and then straight out I was lucky enough to land a full-time job with Open Lab as I was already working part-time when I was a student. So that was awesome, and I've been able to morph and grow and learn in a really safe environment, starting off as a junior designer, and now being able to knock off the junior and just call myself a designer.
Dum dum.
Woo!
Congrats.
Thank you. Yes, I think I've been quite lucky with my position and the flexibility where I did come in as a junior designer. And obviously, as a junior designer, you get a lot of mentorship and you kind of have to ask before you send an email or something, just in case when you're first starting out. Over the past 3 years, I've had the freedom to kind of step up into my own abilities and really take on new roles and be in charge of my own projects and clients, which I think is super important in the design industry because you can get so stuck in one position and a title, but it's all about growth and learning and creativity, obviously.
Yeah, I think it was really cute. When Connah first started with us, I always had to basically check over her emails, or she was really nervous about sending an email, and basically... Yeah, I don't know.
Because I'd always apologise in every email and be like,
oh yeah, that was it.
I'm so sorry. For no reason, I would always apologise.
Like when text changes came in from a client or something, Connah would come back and go, oh, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, girl, you cut that sorry word out of your vocab.
Number 1 rule, don't be sorry as a designer. You're just doing your job.
One connection Connah and I both have, we've come from Taranaki. Moved down to the big city to do our degrees.
Both did the same degree, just
basically
10 years apart.
10 years apart and completely different environment. Back in my time, it was very different to what it is now.
Also, like most designers, we've got a lot of side hustles and passion projects, like designing outside of work and keeping the brain working, because I think that's super important in industry, is to remember that you're a human as well. And there is things that don't pay the bills and there are things that do pay the bills.
Passion projects.
Yes.
Mine's collecting animals, by the way. Just, got 2 dogs, 2 cats, 6 chickens, 2 roosters, rats, but we kill them because, predator-free 2050.
Woo!
Bring it on.
He's Farmer Brown over here, guys.
Yeah.
Also, they don't teach you how to write emails at university. That is a skill. That's what we do at Open Lab, I guess, is that we teach the hard skills that they don't teach you at university. They tell you, they're like, oh yeah, you need to have a good CV and you need to know paragraph styles. But then when it comes down to it, there's no actually learning. And I guess it's the same with high school. They don't actually teach you how to be an adult. They try, but it doesn't really work.
Yeah, or even teach you to communicate with your peers who you're working with, or how to communicate to a client in a business transaction. It's all very new stuff, which we hopefully can teach you all those things, all those kind of soft skills that you need to just up your abilities and be awesome designers. So when you go into industry, you can hit the ground running and have some familiarity.
Yes,
wow.
Nailed it.
It could have been really bad, that one. But to make yourself familiar with the processes and going through, even just writing an email and having the confidence to be able to do that is really awesome, and that's what we are here to teach you.
I agree. We like to be a safe space where you can just come and learn and grow. We do internships. So you might come work for us on a project, and that might be only a month or it might be a year, and then we partner with people in the industry to actually get you out of uni and into the real world, and it might be with a 3-month contract or 6, or it might be an actual job, which I think is super beneficial for a lot of people, because finding a job after uni is probably the hardest part out of that 4 years.
Yeah, and those internship roles pop up throughout the year. We've got great connections with government. We've done some placements in creative agencies. Basically, with the internships, you apply for the internship with us. We do job interviews to shortlist a few people. Even going through the job interview process with us in a fun, caring kind of way enables you to learn so much about how to present yourself, what to write in your CV, how your portfolio can be improved, and I guess breaking down those nervousness things that happen when you go into these big scary situations that you've never done before. If you can trial it with Open Lab first and dust off all those cobwebs, it's going to be amazing for you when you actually go into the internship interview and nail it, first go. Those internships are basically a 3-month internship. Let's take government, for example. We've had quite a few people going into that, which is basically around service design or visual communication design jobs, and a lot of them are 3-month contracts, and a lot of the people that were put into those placements have actually gone on to be full-time employed, which is also an extra bonus. And we'd love seeing you guys get out off university, go into an internship, and then land that job straight after it. It's like, bye Felicia, but we have done our job, and we love seeing you guys out there killing it.
I agree. And just to touch on what Michael's talking about is that we actually offer that interview process as something that we do in Open Lab. So we will offer maybe 10 free sessions for students to come in, show us their portfolio, show us their CV, and we will just go through it from an industry perspective and a designer perspective and from our experience, and help them craft it the best you can. Because like I said, I'm sure there's workshops, etc. at university, but there's not a class that teaches you how to do a great CV. And I know we're all the same, and when it gets to the end of the year and then you download that stupid template off Behance and then everyone's got the same looking CV and everyone's just filling it in because they're stressed and they've got no time. So throughout the year we offer services to help you go through your CV or your portfolio, which we've found makes a huge difference, because the people that we have helped with their portfolio have gone on to get jobs. And it's not only the physical thing, it's also how you present yourself in an interview, how you speak about your work and explain your work. I know they teach you a lot about that, but sometimes it can be hard what to say when you're trying to hit a mark to a lecturer, and then what you're trying to say when you're trying to get a job with someone in industry.
Yeah, last year I started doing this with the last year's 4th year, and I coined it interview coaching and portfolio reviews. So you're more than welcome to come in. I did 8 of those last year, and I'm planning to do at least 10 maybe this year. The awesome thing about that is, yes, Massey University does give you those tools to be able to do your portfolio and to talk about interviewing and all that kind of stuff, but it's a very standard run-of-the-mill kind of approach to it, which is not a bad thing because you guys need to know that. But with these interview coaching things, it's a one-on-one situation. So I sit down with you and run through your portfolio. And if you've got an interview coming up, I really tailor it to your needs and what you want to be as a designer, and whether or not that's going in to get an internship, whether or not you want to be a freelancer, whether or not you want to go into a big agency or a small agency. Like, I really hone in what your dreams are and be able to kind of shape your projects that you're presenting in your portfolio. What I learned last year was a lot of you guys rationalize your work as if you were rationalizing your design concepts to a lecturer without actually thinking about, now I've got to sell that idea. Like, how do I best present that idea? How do I talk about what the background is? How do I explain my methodologies? And then how do I wrap it up to say, this is how I nailed that project?
I agree, and also I think it'll be awesome for future episodes because we'll be able to talk to all the students that we've been talking about today, ones that have come in for those interview coaching or those portfolio reviews or have got internships or have just worked for us, and interview them and see what their transition is like and what it's still like, because I know that they're going through it at the moment, interviewing people that are through it, interviewing people that are not even close, and really getting a really diverse perspective on the issues and the sticky things that come up, because I know just talking about it and opening up about it will help you guys feel not alone and supported in what you're doing, because everyone goes through the same thing and it's just never shared or passed on. So that's exactly what we're here for.
Yeah, and I think that's a really exciting thing about this podcast is actually we're going to get those people back in. I don't think I've ever seen anyone actually talk about what their experience was or pass on that knowledge to younger fellow designers. And this is going to be an awesome opportunity for you guys to just listen and hear from those people that have gone through that transition, that uni world into industry, and it's going to be amazing. That transition is going to be really awesome to hear about and be familiar with it. It'll be awesome.
And because I think a lot of people, you know, when you leave uni, and I can talk from experience because it was quite recent, that you think it's just that short amount of time, but you forget that the transition is forever. Like, you keep transitioning. It's not that you just go from uni and then you become a designer and then you're like Carrie Bradshaw working in a studio. You know, you get more lessons to learn and more challenges and things to overcome. And I think people forget about their transition. So it'll be awesome to access it when they're going through it in the now and let that be shared.
When I talk to juniors that are coming into Open Lab, I describe it as you're going from primary school into intermediate, and there's always that awkward kind of position in between that. And then once you've finished intermediate school, you've got another transition and you're going into high school. And then from high school, you're going into university, and all those little transition spots are pretty much what you're going to go through within your career as well. So you're going to be a junior designer, then you might be an intermediate or medium weight or whatever they call that, and then senior designer. Hopefully some of you guys will be creative director, art directors, or blow it all out of the water and you just own your own studio or you do your own jazz.
And like, obviously we come from a studio background, but we understand that design thinking can be used in everywhere and everything. So you might be a freelancer, you might not have even studied, like you might just be jumping into the industry, but it's all the same things, same transitions, whether it is industry or prior.
This year we tried something really new with Open Lab. We decided that we would employ undergraduates as an internship within Open Lab. So previously, just to rewind it and make it make sense to you guys, we used to employ designers by a project basis. So that means when a project came into the studio, say it was a publication, we would then go out and look for, say, someone that had skills in publication layout. We'd go out and would look for a student just based on that one particular project. But this year we tried something new where we employed undergraduate designers for a whole month, which was called an Open Lab internship, which enabled you guys to be able to experience a broader range of projects instead of just one project. and you got to experience the really fast pace of projects switching around, other people doing things, emails come in and then we have to quickly action that, and you get really caught up in the whole studio world, and it's really cool and exciting, and everything changes and not one day is the same, and you're not always just stuck on that one project. So we also do internships for Open Lab, but also internships external, which is all the government, other creative agencies or digital places.
Lots of stuff. But yeah, like Michael said, when I first came in as a junior designer, it was halfway through my 4th year. And I was studying at the same time, and I'd work maybe like 2 days a week. And I just worked on one sole project. So as soon as I'd finished what I was doing that day, it was kind of like, oh, I'll just go home. There's nothing really to do, which is completely different to what it's actually like being in the industry. So now with our 1-month internships, you do get to experience that firsthand, whether it's, switching from project to project or helping us out with something in the studio, being involved in just like team meetings and morning teas and stuff like that, where you actually get to experience what it is like in the workplace and being a part of a team, not just an add-on. Like, we really embrace the team, and I think that's what makes it special, is that we try to have no hierarchy, and we just like embrace everyone's different skill sets and abilities and how we can merge that together for one cohesive project. Studio life.
Hashtag.
Transition. But yeah, I hope this has given you a little bit of insight into who we are as a studio, who we are as people, a bit more about what we do and what we do for the university and how they help us as well. And we are very excited to just bring you so much more stuff in the future, talk to more people, get some really raw stories, and just open up the transition between university and the industry.
I guess I have to have a little closing statement too, right? This is episode 1. It's a wrap, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in, and if you want to see any more from us, you can head over to our Instagram, which is OpenLabNZ, or head to our website, and all the details are in the show notes. Can't wait to talk to you soon.
Bye.
Ka kite.